a lot of African-American writers, intellectuals, activists have come out in favor of Bernie Sanders. And for example, Harry Belafonte, good friend of Martin Luther King, was part of the civil rights movement, says he's for Sanders, you need to be as well. Ta-Nehisi Coates, who has talked about reparations and even criticized Sanders at times, says, no, overall, definitely Sanders. Benjamin Jealous, former president of the NAACP, Sanders. So the list goes on and on. Cornel West, Sanders. But when it comes to black politicians, well, there we have a slightly different story. News went out today that the Congressional Black Caucus had endorsed Hillary Clinton. That's not true. Something slightly different happened. Keith Ellison, who is one of the strongest progressives in Congress, an African-American representative from Minnesota, tweeted out, no, Congressional Black Caucus has not endorsed in presidential. Separate CBC PAC endorsed without input from CBC membership, including me. So there's 46 members in the Congressional Black Caucus. They have not made any statement as to who they're supporting en masse. The PAC that gets contributions and then use that on behalf of the Congressional Black Caucus just came out and said it. In fact, they explain here in Talking Points memo, the Congressional Black Caucus PAC chose Clinton over Sanders to receive its endorsement on Thursday. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Who's in that PAC? Well, you'd think it's probably the same guys, and there are some congressmen on there. And one of the congressmen is Gregory Meeks, and he says, now look, we're not from the establishment, we're from the streets. Really? Okay, let's find out. The Intercept investigated that. Here's what they found out. Ben Branch, the executive director of the Congressional Black Caucus PAC, told The Intercept that his group made the decision after a vote from its 20-member board. The board includes 11 lobbyists, 7 elected officials, and 2 officials who work for the PAC. Now, who are some of those lobbyists? Members of the CBC PAC board include Darren Watts, a lobbyist for Purdue Pharma, the maker of the highly addictive opioid OxyContin; Mike McKay and Shaka Burgess, both lobbyists for Navient, the student loan giant that was spun off of Sallie Mae. Former Representative Albert Wynn, a lobbyist who represents a range of clients, including work last year on behalf of Lorillard Tobacco, the maker of Newport cigarettes, and William A. Kirk, who lobbies for a cigar industry trade group on a range of tobacco regulations. Now that's interesting because they then came out and in their speeches talked about how, well, this Bernie Sanders idea of making college free, that's not really tenable or pragmatic. Wait a minute, wouldn't that help African Americans greatly? That would give you equality of opportunity that you were looking for. But some of those groups that give to the Congressional Black Caucus PAC, well, they are the people who've given out those loans. They're not interested in making it free. I wonder if that had something to do with this endorsement. Okay, now, look, there are some great people in that organization, including American hero John Lewis. He's very clear. He believes in Hillary Clinton, and he's not for Bernie Sanders. He says something, though, that I thought went a little too far. Let's watch.
What do you say about his previous work on civil rights?
Well, to be very frank, I don't want to cut you off, but I never saw him. I never met him. I would chair the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee for 3 years, from 1963 to 1966. I was involved in the sit-ins, the Freedom Ride, the March on Washington, the March from Selma to Montgomery, and directed the Voter Education Project for 6 years. But I met Hillary Clinton. I met President Clinton.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. Really, I don't remember the Clintons on the Edmund Pettus Bridge, but I don't know if he means he met them at the time or later. I happened to meet Bill and Hillary Clinton. But okay, I'll take him at his word. Now, saying he never saw Bernie Sanders, on the other hand, is totally unfair because he was there. Okay, you didn't see him, but don't you think that's a slightly misleading characterization to say as if he wasn't there? I've got the facts on that in a second for you. But let me continue with the attacks against him first. J. Todd Rutherford, a South Carolina House Democratic leader, says Sanders' record on civil rights was thin. Really? Based on what? Okay, I'll give you the real record in a second. Rutherford told the newspaper he was troubled by Sanders' vote in favor of the 1994 Violent Crime Control and Law Enforcement Act, signed into law by former President Bill Clinton. So wait, let me get this right. Bill Clinton, supported by Hillary Clinton, Hillary Clinton very aggressively lobbied for that law. She said that the young black kids who were super predators needed to be brought to heel. But it's not Hillary Clinton's fault. It's not Bill Clinton's fault. It's Bernie Sanders' fault. Fascinating. Okay. He went on to say, referring to Sanders, he only started talking about issues concerning African Americans in the last 40 days. That is preposterous. Now, let me give you Bernie Sanders' real record. As a student at the University of Chicago, Sanders was active in both the Congress on Racial Equality and the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. In 1962, he was arrested for protesting segregation in public schools in Chicago. The police came to call him an outside agitator as he went around putting up flyers around the city detailing police brutality. So he started back in 1962 fighting for civil rights for African Americans. I'm pretty sure that's longer than 40 days ago. Yeah, but I mean, the NAACP, sure, Ben Jealous, former president, has endorsed him, but was his track record when he's in Congress that good? Well, they put out a record on him when he was running for Senate in 2006. So what percentage of the vote did he get from the NAACP on his record? 97%. Oh, no, he wasn't there for African Americans, except he was there, apparently, according to the NAACP, 97% of the time. Okay. Now, back to his critics. All of a sudden, Reverend Al Sharpton weighing in on politicians. The same guy who said he wouldn't criticize President Obama ever for anything. He told that to 60 Minutes. He said he met with Sanders, then said, one of the things I was saying to Senator Sanders is saying that we got to deal with income inequality and wages is fine, but what about the race element of that? Because even in that, there's not a monolith. There's racism involved. He did not address that directly. That's what I was pressing him on. Curious time for Al Sharpton to press politicians on race issues. You had 7 years with President Obama. You know him really well. I never saw you in public pressing him on race issues. And what did President Obama do again specifically on race issues? Yeah. Sharpton continued, the next president needs to, quote, give priority to racial inequality in this country. Well, that's true. But why are we waiting for the next president? You're friends with this president. How come you never, ever speak out against President Obama when he doesn't do any of the things that you demand Bernie Sanders do? We got a president right now who's black. Help us to get him to the right place on that. No. I'm playing politics here, right? So all the people who know the Clinton record and the Sanders record seem to be on Sanders' side. All the politicians, and most especially the ones taking money from those same lobbyists, seem to be like, I don't know, could be Clinton. Look, I like Clinton. Sanders, I don't know. Now we go back to Representative Hakeem Jeffries, who's also on Clinton's side. He says, it's good to have new friends, but I would prefer to have true friends. Hillary Clinton has been a true friend to the African-American community for more than 40 years. He says, during that same period of time, Bernie Sanders has been largely missing in action. Once again, his rating from the NAACP, 97%. He started back in 1962 and has fought for civil rights for not just blacks, but Latinos, Asians, and just about everyone else you could imagine. So these politicians, it turns out, are politicians, and they are largely lying. Okay. Finally, we go to J.K. Butterfield, because this is my favorite one. He's the CBC PAC chairman. He says, I hope the students would understand, because he's trying to appeal to young African Americans who are going for Sanders, they would understand the big picture. And that is, Senator Sanders' message might be appealing, but is it realistic? So this from African Americans who said, no, we don't want justice delayed. We want justice now. See, that's the same exact quote that they would have used against Martin Luther King. Oh, you're asking for all this stuff. It's not your turn. It's not your turn. Wait your turn. You'll get justice later. That's exactly what they said in the civil rights movement to those guys who were protesting. Now, these guys turn around and go, oh, no, it's not realistic. Don't ask for all that. Now, No, free education. Now you can't have that equality of opportunity. All those poverty programs that Bernie Sanders was, no, not practical, not pragmatic. You can't have that now. Now you're to tell me that you guys represent African Americans in this country? Well, there are a lot of people who disagree.